Hello everyone, welcome back to Out of Spec Guide. I'm Max and you join me in Frisco, Colorado. So one of the big issues with EVs in winter is they lose range. You're thus more dependent on fast charging, especially if you're going uphill facing winds to ski. Now I-70 along Colorado is actually a decent corridor in terms of theoretical coverage, but you've got sites like this one in Frisco, which always seem to have issues. Behind me, there's a gentleman who's actually testing that charger, which has been down for a while. This one that I just used and I've just unplugged that, I'm about to repark, is derated. So while it was a free charging session, I only got a third of the potential peak speed my vehicle can take in. So there's a lot of issues with fast charging. However, one of the things that's at least saving bacon for skiers is having level 2 slower charging provided by resorts, parking garages. So I'm just about to head to the town of Breckenridge and I'll show you what those chargers look like because there's a lot of them. And yeah, they're slow, but hey, if I spend a few hours skiing and can charge and can avoid a situation like this, well, that's gonna be pretty nice. Okay, so I made it to the garage in Breckenridge, dropped off my girlfriend and her friend. They're gonna go Nordic skiing, but I'm going downhill skiing. This is one of the gondola lots here. And the brilliantness of this setup is, well, they have 22 posts of these charge point units. If you're a regular watcher of this channel, you've seen me cover a similar setup at another ski resort in Colorado called Eldora. This is garage indoor parking, slightly different, and these are paid units. So their billing is, I think, 20 cents a kilowatt hour, which is reasonable. However, that's separate from parking. Breckenridge, it's pretty expensive to ski here. The parking fee is like $17 flat a day. That's separate from the charging. So I think they could subsidize the charging. That would be nice, but they've chosen not to do that. Of course, the owner of the charge point, whoever installs these units, can do what they please, but I think this is brilliant. So to clarify, for those of you who don't know, level 2 as opposed to DC fast charging is much slower, as opposed to getting like a 30 to 40 minute fill up on my car from, 20% battery to 80%. I typically don't want to go to 100% battery. To do that on these takes them a lot longer, but that's not the idea. The idea is that I come in at like 30, 40%, and after even half a day of skiing, I have a substantial charge because 6 kilowatt charging speed over 4 hours, that's 24 kilowatt hours. That could be, let's say, a quarter or even more of a modern electric car battery, comfortably 25% you're getting just from half a day. So could these be higher speed units? Absolutely. However, I think they meet the needs of vehicles like my Polestar 2 or this Volvo XC40 Recharge, which is actually on a very similar powertrain out there for you nerds. But Rivians, which are very popular in Colorado, bigger vehicles that are less efficient, I think this will be less useful. I'm not saying that level 2 AC charging is in that way a substitute for fast charging, but at least for people who are doing that kind of, half day, full day adventure, it just makes a lot of sense. It really adds no time effectively when you think about it, because you're not going out of your way. You're going to park here anyways. So there you go. You have the charging post set up. But many ways to configure this. I like the way they've done it. I'm gonna get up the skis. You can see here the utilization is not currently that high. That's because it's still early in ski season, but I have seen and heard stories of these units filling up, even with all 20 of them charging a potential maximum, right, of 40 vehicles. And this, of course, can charge Tesla vehicles too. They are the J1772 receptacle, but every Tesla owner will know your car comes with an adapter. You can also buy a spare one from Tesla for $50 to adapt to this format. Now, in the years to come, hopefully these units, ChargePoint is one of the partners to do this, will have the NACS North American Charging Standard port. But in the meantime, I think we're all going to be living with adapters. If you're a Tesla owner, for the moment, if you're not, then you don't need to use an adapter. It's the same native port you plug into your car. But when it comes to the fast charging story with Tesla superchargers, there is a Silverthorne charger not far from here that would be great to supplement DC fast charging if it was open to non-Tesla drivers. Unfortunately, that's not one of the sites with what they call a magic to dock adapter built into it. So you'll have to wait until later on next year, assuming your car is one of the ones partnered with the Tesla network, to charge there as a non-Tesla, and you will need to buy a separate adapter to fast charge. But again, you don't need to fast charge all the time. If a slower charge is adequate for you, that's great. One big caveat with these units that I don't like is 6 kilowatts is the speed you get when you're not sharing it. So because it's low utilization, that's what I'm getting. If I was sharing this unit, splitting with someone else, it would be down to 3 kilowatts, which is quite measly at that point, right? Half the charging speed. So I really would like to see these boosted. Hopefully they upgrade this hardware at some point. It is nice to see they're all maintained though. All of the handles on the ones I'm seeing look adequate. So, ski area, lots of tax revenue. These are maintained by the town of Breckenridge. They're, public paid parking here. So I think they have a fair budget to do that with their maintenance contract. That is always good to see because you don't always see that as a given with these chargers. Also, of course, the no parking for non-EV signs. I haven't seen any icing going on, right, where a non-EV vehicle plugs in and is blocking a spot, which is great to see. It seems like they enforce that pretty strictly here. I saw some parking staff people walking around. Of course, they're checking for people's tickets as well and license plates, but also seem to be enforcing the no icing rule, which, I think would be more of an issue on a busier day. Today, not too much of a problem. All right, I'm joined by an EV driver. I just ran into in the Breckenridge parking garage. You've got this Mach-E. What's it been like?
Mach-E, great. I love the electric experience. So I have a half-hour commute. It's awesome. I can charge for $4 my entire car. I can go a few days. If I go anywhere that's more than an hour and a half away, it's a big pain in the butt. Because trying, especially because gas stations are everywhere. But to find a charger, it's the fast chargers is what's really needed.
Yeah.
So when you're traveling, you want to be able to charge and get up to 80% quickly.
Yep.
That's the challenge.
Do you have a home charger for normal day-to-day?
Yep, I have a home charger, so I just come home at night, I can plug in. Every other night I plug it in, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, and for, coming out skiing today, how far was your trip?
Oh, so it's an hour and a half. So I could probably make it home, and I actually charge when I go down, it actually regenerates power.
Yeah.
So I can regenerate
the regenerative
on the way out of
braking.
bounds.
Yeah.
But it's always the colder it is, it's not as efficient.
Yep.
So now I get really nervous because now here I am trying to find a charger, pulling up the apps and saying, all right, do I go out of my way? Now I got to stop. And if it's a slow one like this one, it'll take me a couple hours on something like this, like 7 kW.
You won't go here just for the sake of it, but you're going to happen to be skiing for a few hours.
This works out great. If I'm staying for a couple hours, I could probably get 10-20% for while I'm skiing.
Yep.
And that's enough to cover me, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, well, that's the dream, honestly, especially when, like you were saying, the DC fast charging infrastructure we do have is oftentimes not that reliable.
It's not reliable. The apps, it's temperamental, and sometimes it's supposed to be one rate, but it's not a rate, and there's not enough parking. And then, God forbid, you got a line to wait for the charging. I mean,
no one wants that in a Walmart or wherever it may be. And I got to tell you, coming here, what do you think of the 20 cents a kilowatt hour, $17 parking? Maybe that just skiing. To me, it feels pricey, but it's convenient.
Yeah, this kilowatt hours, I'm not too worried about it. And actually, people don't realize that the electric charge, if you're traveling, it's almost the exact same price as gas.
If you're doing the fast charging, this actually works out to be a bit cheaper if you don't factor in the flat parking and they're charging you.
Yeah, and you don't end up using as much. You just get enough what you need to go. So
Yeah, well, have a great day on the mountain, and thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, time for me to actually go skiing. Enough dilly-dallying. I just talked to a nice couple who was charging here with their Mustang Mach-E. These chargers just work out great for people. You're never going here for the sake of it, but if you happen to be somewhere else, having ambient charging level 2 is great. However, on the way back, after I pick up the girls from the Nordic Center, getting back to Denver and Boulder, that's going to be interesting because I probably will need to stop at a fast charger somewhere. So if you're not a Tesla driver, these kinds of level 2 charge point stations can be really helpful to you, even if they're not free. 20 cents a kilowatt hour, perfectly reasonable pricing. That still works out to be cheaper than gas for most, reasonably efficient vehicles. Of course, my Polestar is not very efficient and it has lost some range in winter. So on the way back, I will update you with the fast charging situation, what it looks like here along 70 in Colorado currently, and my car's efficiency story. Because, the story here with EVs in winter is you get comfortable range in summer that can become more stressful in winter when you have high winds, you've got big elevation and mountain passes. Okay, you can somewhat make up for that with the regenerative braking, but then chiefly you've got cold temperatures which require the battery to heat up, and the motors aren't working at their highest efficiency, so you generally lose a lot of range. In my Polestar, I'll update you on how much I'm losing, but it is considerable. Anyhow, enough of that. I'm gonna go skiing, and I'll be back with you once I'm on the way back from my holiday, work day, whatever this happens to be. All right, the real workout on a ski day is just walking to the gondola and back with your boots and everything. Anyhow, everything's packed. I've been charged up to about 33%, which is 18% more than it came with after 2 hours, which is to be expected. It slowed down a bit because it looks like a Tesla Model Y joined my charging post, splitting my current charging speed. So it is what it is. Looks like it's gotten more utilized throughout the day. There's a Rivian here. Apparently there's some Viking festival in town. That's why the gentleman I was interviewing earlier had a Viking hat. It all makes sense. So gonna enjoy some of those festivities, but first I gotta pick up the girls' skis. I'll come back here to charge more. I think we're just gonna hang out in town tonight. So yeah, level 2 charging. If you've got time to just hang out, whether you're skiing or enjoying festivities, it's great. Look at that, 2 hours, 40 minutes, and we've got 16 kilowatt hours of charge for $3. Not too bad, cheaper than DC fast charging, so I'll take it. Okay, so that was Ulerfest, as it's called, not the Viking Festival. So now I finally know why the gentleman in the Mach-E had the Viking hat. Gosha, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. A little chilly, but it's been great.
Yeah, no, fun thing to do if you're local in Colorado. They do this, I guess, every December or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyhow,
Checking out for sure. They have the world record attempt, unofficial attempt for the longest shot ski. That's pretty neat if you like skis or shots, I guess.
or both.
Or both.
And controlled quantities, of course. But yeah,
Safe, yes.
Polestar, charged up a little bit. Got 3 kilowatt hours in the last little bit, half an hour. So unfortunately, I think we still have to stop at a DC fast charger on the way home really briefly. But it's downhill, so maybe that won't be the case.
Maybe we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
Well, in a rare fail for ChargePoint, this site, thank goodness, is working for us tonight because we're the only ones using it, and our stall is at 200 kilowatts. It's actually charging the car at its maximum speed of 150 kilowatts, which is great. But this one is open. However, these two are both unavailable. The screens say they're offline. So it doesn't say that on the app. In the ChargePoint app, it says one of them, no status, but it says the rest should be fine. So at least one of them is just not updating in the app correctly at the moment. Normally, ChargePoint's backend systems and their how that works is very reliable, especially with these newer ChargePoint Express units that have been set up with the state, Colorado DOT. They're expensive units, these ones, but the fact that they're normally reliable and that they work, and this one's in Georgetown right off 70 on the way home, it worked for us in lieu of using Electrify America Frisco. I actually did really quickly try to charge there again on the way back, maybe tempting fate, insanity, whatever you want to call it, thinking maybe one of the stalls will be fine because Electrify America app says that theoretically one of them should be able to deliver the full 350 kilowatt speed, which for my car will be 150. But no, alas, that stall too was giving my car the 40 kilowatts that was crippled, and it was a complimentary charge estimate at least, but it wasn't going to work. So we have just used this. We're going to only need to stop here for like 5 minutes because it's a much faster charging speed. And yeah, I'm grateful for these units. Unfortunate the two of them are down, but hey, cool that the ChargePoint Express units have that status LED. But yeah, this is not an ad for ChargePoint or really any charging provider short of Tesla, but I'm not in a Tesla, so I can't use all the Tesla chargers. I can't use anything that doesn't have a magic dock yet. Hopefully that changes next year in 2024. Anyhow, it's getting windy. Thanks for watching this video on How to Spec Guide. I've been Max, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully in less tired condition. But this is what it's like skiing and charging in winter in Colorado, at least. Let me know what it's like where you live in winter, especially if you get harsh weather, you got mountain roads with DC fast charging infrastructure. I want to hear about it. Anyhow, see you in the next video. Bye.